Fabricating products today becomes more and more restricted with respect to legal issues, such as import taxes and carbon footprint regulations, and so are batteries bound to that. Import taxes, of course, have nothing to do with the battery itself, but the carbon footprint does, and there are several issues that we would like to highlight related to the carbon footprint. This means we need to have a method to analyze the carbon footprint, and that often is done with the use of a life cycle assessment, or referred to as an life cycle analysis, LCA. An LCA is an internationally recognized systematic method to evaluate the environmental impact of a product, process, or service throughout its life cycle. That means from extraction of raw materials, production, assembly, use, waste, transport in between these, and recycling and/or reuse. With this, an LCA evaluates energy consumption, emissions to air, water or soil, waste generation, use of natural resources, and other environmental impact categories. Hence, it can be regarded as a cradle-to-grave approach. This LCA used to be very specific, but might be creating conflicts with respect to patent issues or trade secrets. Therefore, an Environmental Product Declaration Form, an EPD, was created. This EPD is a standardized document that describes the LCA results for a specific product without disclosing the sensitive information. In addition, depending on product, country or region and/or other databases where the EPD will be registered, specific rules for product categories must be followed. In a similar aspect, the European Commission developed an LCA method related to the EPD, which is known as a Product Environment Footprint, a PEF. Whatever method is being followed, in summary it established a harmonized methodology for quantifying and evaluating the environmental impact of products, provide a common basis for environmental assessments and labeling in case of the PEF across the European Union, and thus promote more environmentally friendly production and consumption, including reuse and refurbishment of products. Particularly the case of environmentally production is important and starts already with sustainable mining. This sustainable mining has been laid down in an international manifest. This manifest is a globally shared framework of concepts, consistent language and metrics, which is critical to tuning social and environmental sustainability ambitions in reality. These therefore include control, use and management of land, contribution to economic and social development, community and stakeholder engagement, industrial relations, environment, integrated approach to mineral use. The amount of materials that we need for mining for our products, and thus batteries, depends on whether we can reuse or refurbish the product and recycle raw materials after end of life. But these are also bound to legal aspects. Other legal aspects arrive by refurbishing or revision a battery, or by reusing a battery after it has been considered dead in electric cars or trucks. It seems that usually these batteries still have enough capacity to be used in grid connection or as home battery. But what happens with the responsibility of the battery once an accident happens due to this battery? As a small, self-employed person who has revised such a battery, it is impossible to bear that responsibility financially. or what happens if such a second life battery catches fire or explodes. Again, who is responsible for the damage caused? But if you, in the end, really want to revise a lithium-ion battery for an e-bike, please remember the following important suggestions. No matter how handy you are, don't do it yourself. Please leave this to a professional party. Make sure that that party where you have the battery revised does not replace only a few cells, but all of them. If necessary, also replace the battery management system, the BMS. It is important that the cells and the BMS match each other. The cells have a lower limit in voltage if they go beyond this limit. The cells are discharged too deeply and break down.